So last but not least, we have here Cécile SAKAI. It's very wonderful that you can join us too. Another representative of a different language than English. So this is wonderful. So please.
Bonjour. Begin with French, but I speak in English, of course, as it has been demanded. So, first of all my congratulations for the 18th anniversary of Monumenta Nipponica. It's a very important journal for all the field, anyway. So, really thank you for all the efforts you have made. And so, I'll try to speak very quickly on what France is doing for studies on Japan in Japan. So, as I'm currently the director of that French Research Institute on Japan at Maison franco-japonaise, which is located in Ebisu, near Shibuya. That current building you see on the slide has opened in 1995, but in fact it's a historical and very specific structure which has been founded in 1924, so it's very, very old, by Paul Claudel, at that time ambassador of France and famous poet and playwright, besides, and Shibusawa Eiichi, the Japanese partner, who was called the father of Japanese capitalism. After decades of evolution, nowadays the Japanese partner, on one hand, is the Japanese Public Utility Foundation, Hoeki Zaidan Nijutsu-Kaikan, and on the other side, the French part that I represent is a joint unit of the French Ministry of the Foreign Affairs and the French National Center for Scientific Researches. That is to say that it's a public institution with a quite complex structure. Complex structure, as you see in the organization chart. France, in fact, has 27 of these kind of research institutes in the world. 27, it's a very big number. And we, in Japan, are specially linked to the center in Hong Kong, which has branches in Taipei and Beijing. Researchers of our centers hold all positions in French universities, and they are detached for 2 to 4 years in this unit in Japan before going back to France. I know that it's different the AG. Currently, it's a bit small, too much written things here, but we have 5 researchers here conducting multidisciplinary researches. So all the researches depend on the team, on the place. So it goes from archaeology to post-Fukushima investigations, from art history to geography or economy, from ancient to contemporary times, in a wide range of human and social sciences, with a common expertise in area studies. That means a strong knowledge on Japan and strong knowledge in Japanese languages. Nowadays, we are more focused on contemporary Japan. For instance, I work on Japanese contemporary literature. And we have developed strong networks, of course, with Japanese universities as well as French partners. With them and with their subsidies, we organize most of the public lectures and international symposium. We also intend in the near future to strengthen the ties with the DAJ, for example, also our Italian colleagues, and have a kind of, if we can have a kind of European alliance of Japanese studies in Japan, it would be very interesting to try to do this kind of new things. One of the collective output is our academic journal Ebisu in French language, founded in 1993, and now we're preparing the 55th issue entitled The Fabric of Contemporary Cities, to be published by the end of December on our free access online platform. It's free access, so it's also a very specific situation. It was published until 2013 in a paper format. I just take one, I'll show it. So this is a collector specimen, because we don't have anymore this kind of paper format. It's a pity, but of course it's a problem of economic problem. But I must stress that since we have put all the issues on an electronic platform, the number of accesses and also downloadings have increased strongly, even from the United States, and even if the papers are in French with a small resume in Japanese and in English. Of course, our collective outputs concern also organization of symposia, lectures, workshops, and so on, which have been quoted before. And we have, of course, individually the usual track of publications, books, papers, conferences, and so on. You can see here our program of public events for October and November. We hold an average of 4 public events per month, in free admission also, most of them following a French-Japanese cooperation scheme. For example, we shall receive in October 22 and 23 a very famous French historian whose name is Henri Rousseau. He is the best specialist of post-World War II studies in France. And he will discuss on freedom of expression and also on new historical methodologies with Japanese colleagues in the field. There are some pictures of lectures and colloquia organized in last year. Some speakers are specialists of Japan, and a cycle that I have entitled Japanese Studies New Approaches, in order to try to construct a kind of field awareness on which we shall discuss certainly together. Concerning the language strategy, that we shall discuss also, we try as often as possible to offer translation. So it's a French-based or Japanese-based discussion with a translation, consecutive or simultaneous. But of course, it represents a large part of our budget, so we have really to be very careful with these kind of things. And to conclude with these pictures, we also hold a monthly PhD student seminar for students coming from France or Francophone countries like Belgium or Switzerland, and enrolled in Japanese universities for 1 year or more. They present their researches, we discuss with them, we try to frame the discussion, and fortunately, most of them graduate, of course, either in France or in Japan, of course, because some of them enter the Daigakun system and then they graduate from Japanese universities. We also rule a quite important library with 50,000 titles in French human and social sciences and also electronic resources. So sorry for the kind of publicity I made. I've almost finished. I would stress one point before finishing. So as you saw, the French language is our basic language in our institution, because we really consider that local languages have to be defended. Particularly in countries like Japan, but it's a discussion we have to have, of course, where, as you know, English, or even if it's effectively the academic universal language nowadays, is not used nor understood by everybody here. In fact, for the French situation, we also meet here a quite strong academic background, academic field here, because on behalf of the famous so-called French theory that was so important in the 1980s, 1990s, and so that very important philosophers, theorists, and so on, have been translated into Japanese and have formed a lot of a generation of Japanese specialists. For the rest, we use Japanese, of course, and in some cases English, and we have a cycle in English which name is Lunch Seminar. So it's in English, and everybody we invite specialists in English-speaking specialists with an English-speaking audience. We're very happy, of course, to open the doors to the English-speaking communities here in Tokyo. That's all. Thank you.